Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel where today we will be taking a look at the exciting world of screwdrivers. Not just any screwdriver, but mainly Phillips and POZIDRIV. This lot here are all Phillips drivers, as you can see by the cruciform tip just here. These were originally invented way back in 1933 by John P. Thompson, who was granted a United States patent for the new cruciform style, as hopefully you can see just there. And then he went into business with Oregon-born Henry F. Phillips, and they formed the Phillips Screw Company. So these drivers have been about quite some time now. But moving forward to 1962, the company GKN Screws and Fasteners came up with a slightly different idea, namely the POZIDRIV. This one here. You can see it's slightly a little bit different. We'll have a look at the differences in a moment. But interestingly, I came across this screwdriver a few weeks ago at the car boot sale. So let's have a closer look at that one. I've already got a video out on my channel about this little fella here, so I won't go into too much detail other than to say that on the shaft here you can just about make it out there as a series of numbers, and these are the patent numbers for the POZIDRIV screwdriver. But interestingly enough, this is not a POZIDRIV, as you can quite clearly see there. This is a Phillips screw driver. It's a shame it got bent actually, because I don't know if it'd be worth any more, because it's, you know, stamped up as a POZIDRIV with the POZIDRIV patent numbers here. So I guess this shaft must have got into the wrong batch for roll stamping. But anyway, ever since I picked this one up, I've been searching the car boot sale to see if I can find another screwdriver with the POZIDRIV patent roll mark on it. And this Sunday I found this. What we have here is an old wooden handled screwdriver, and it is actually a POZIDRIV. It's got all the roll markings on here. It says POZIDRIV 2 PT number 2 point, and it also has patent numbers 953795 10065009, and this one's got made in the UK by GKN. It's interesting to take a look at this one, because the driver tip on this is very, very different from the driver tips we see today. Check this out, guys. Look at this. Here is a more up-to-date driver tip, and you can see the angle's more or less the same at the top there. Look, the tip is more or less the same angle, etc. But it's just the way the splines come out a bit further. They must have found an easier way to make it, because if you look, the shaft is actually straight on this one all the way along here, whereas this one is a little bulge where the driver tip is. You can see that, can't you? So whether it had to be clamped into something to form the tip, I don't know back in the day, but they've certainly changed the design on it in recent years. It still drives rather well though, this thing does. Here we have a couple of POZIDRIV screws holding my lamp onto the wall here. Hopefully you can see this. Let's get the screwdriver in there. And it will. This is the more modern version. As you can see, it turns it around quite nicely indeed. Right, shall we try the older GKN version? Fits in there exactly the same. Still drives it very nicely indeed. No problem whatsoever there, and we can get a good, a really good amount of torque on there too. So it's quite interesting to see how the POZIDRIV tip has evolved over the decades, from this back in 1962 into this today. I'm not sure of the manufacturing process for this old screwdriver, because I say it does bulge out at the tip here, and we have got a couple of lines or at least one line going round it, as you can see right there. Now that bulge is definitely interesting. So I say whether they had to clamp the shaft into something or other to, you know, a special tool to hold it whilst they formed this tip here, I'm not sure. But you can see the little splines in there. They're not quite as pronounced as the modern splines, but they are there just about. So obviously I don't know what changed, whether it was easy to make them, they found it was easy to make them this way, I'm not really sure, but there's obviously some reason why they changed the design to make it easier to make, I guess. But yeah, this is the original GKN style from the original patent back in the day. So I mean, these patents are available, especially if you look up that one there, you will definitely find it on Google Patents. And so it was made in the UK by GKN as well back in the day, and this is a number 2 point. It's just a shame that the ferrule is missing off of this particular example, but I wasn't too bothered about that because I only paid 50 pence for this thing. I quite like the noise. You might not be able to hear that, but it does make the, you know, the wood gives it a nice, the wooden handle gives it a nice sounding board sort of thing. It sounds much nicer than a, I know it's irrelevant, but I mean it sounds much nicer than a modern plastic screwdriver, and it's quite a nice design to use as well. It fits in the hand very nicely indeed. The shaft is probably stainless steel as well because it's nice and smooth. I had to clean it up a little bit. Also of interest, we have a groove running around here underneath the roll mark too. Now whether that's something to do with clamping it while they put in the roll mark, possibly maybe, clamped it just there to keep it still while it gave it the roll mark and then released it, because you can see where the jaws closed up just there, look, but not around that side, so that's interesting. But originally when this came from the factory, and I think this may have come as a pair, possibly a slightly larger or smaller version with it, but as I say, it would have had a ferrule around there like this basically. So it's a nice blue, because when I found it at this was on my favourite tool stall, I thought it was going to be a Stanley, because it's a similar blue to the Stanley here, look. So I thought it'd be a Stanley, but it turns out GKN. So I say it's to do with their original patent number back there in 1962. So that's how long your POZIDRIV has been around, 1962. The old and familiar Philips has been around since 1933. So there's about 30 years difference between the two of them then, which is interesting. Alright then guys, well I hope you enjoyed popping over to Rathbone Manor and taking a look at this what I think rather interesting vintage GKN POZIDRIV with the original style tip and the proper roll mark on it, as opposed to this one here, which has got the same roll mark but it's actually a Philips, as you can see. So I think this must have got mixed up in the factory with a bunch of POZIDRIV'd and wrongly roll marked basically. So it's a shame it's been bent really, because I don't know whether it'd been worth something, you know, because of the wrong roll mark on it. I don't know, it's just a shame somebody bent it at 90 degrees. Interestingly, after I finished my video on this, I found that I did actually have a Stanley model number 2612 made in the USA, Philips LIC1, so you got a number 1 at that end and a number 2 at that end. So this one's properly made offset screwdriver, and someone's obviously done this specifically for a job that they had back in the day. Okay then guys, well thanks for popping round to Rathbone Manor. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this vintage GKN original POZIDRIV with the original bit going on at the end here. Very interesting. I've seen these about before. Possibly I think I saw one by Stanley. Next time I go to the car boot sale, I'll be looking out and see if I can find possibly a Stanley or another one of these for my collection now, because you know, obviously I've started to collect screwdrivers as well now, guys. Anyway, let me know what you think of the video, guys. If you've got any further information about GKN POZIDRIV patent, please let me know down in the comments below, and I'll catch you here on the next video. Thanks for watching.